Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the pond. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. Never get thought of your thought, and the look at the books. LTL true crime, I go. We don't get live in the shine, but then I'm not talking, baby, they get so. Look at the place in the world, no can to wait your life. Good now, true, it's your love, we thought of it, you'll be the thought of your thought, and the look at the books. I think real true crime, you know what dark realities every time. This is I think real true crime, you know what dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi.
What's going on, everybody? Good evening. Welcome back to LTL True Crime. I want to welcome everybody back in here on February 27th, 2024. I am continuing to beat the drum about Brockton High School. It is a complete mess. We just came back from student vacation and or school break, and thinking that there was going to be a plan in place to solve this. No. And just about a week and a half ago, the National Guard was called upon by 4 committee members out of the 7 committee members, that school board committee members, stood up in front of a microphone, had a press conference, said, we need the National Guard to come in and to control this situation. There is no plan. Mayor Sullivan said, no National Guard. James Cobb, the superintendent, no National Guard. We had an article that came out today. Maura Healy, governor of this great state of Massachusetts. You're doing a fine job, Governor Healy. No National Guard will be sent to Brockton. And we're going to get to that committee meeting. I know it's live right now. We're a little bit behind. It's fine, but we will play through that. But I want to give a precursor to actually what's going on down there in Brockton High. There was a standout the other day. There was a rally. There was a protest. If I was not out at the Karen Reed hearing, I would have been there in support. I want to make my way down there one of these days here soon to speak to people that are outside and maybe get some conversations going. You know, no one is talking about this. Right here, from WBZ News, National Guard will not be sent to Brockton High School to help with security, Healy says. Goes on to say here, Governor Maura Healy will not be sending the National Guard to help with security issues at Brockton High. Well, they had the money. They had the $14.4 million that's still unaccounted for, that no one knows where it is, that they're going to do this forensic audit of where the money is. We heard about that last year. There's still no audit. And one of the main things when Sullivan was reelected into the being mayor, before that said, oh, this money was to be towards one of the categories was security. This is your hard-earned tax dollars that no one knows where it is. is supposed to be sent on security. And look at the stories that we're hearing here at Brockton High. I had a source come out, and I can't confirm this, but I heard because there's so much terrible activity going on pertaining to women in that school, that's why the bathrooms have been locked there. And let's say a ST situation, that women are being grabbed and pulled into the bathrooms. And I heard the busing situation's even worse with kids on buses. These people are failing at the top. Sullivan, Cobbs, Healy. Not going to fix the situation. We're just going to ride this one out. 4 members of the Brockton School Committee pleaded for the National Guard to help control the violence at school, but Healy says it's just not appropriate. It's not appropriate. You're the governor of the state of Massachusetts, and you are failing to do your job. There are people there are kids, there are teachers breaking arms to break up fights. There's students being airlifted after being stabbed in the hallways. There was a poor teacher, and I forgot her name, said that she doesn't even like to use the restroom until after school. That's how scared she is to walk down the hallways during session. 4,300 kids go to that school. It's the largest high school in Massachusetts, and you would think that security and making sure that these students and these teachers are secure would be your top priority. No, it's not. Healy says her administration has provided Brockton with a grant to audit its current safety conditions. We're going to now audit it when we know that this has been going on for 10 plus years, probably more, in Brockton High School. So now it's such at the tipping point that it's out of control and you cannot get it under control. But now we're gonna send a grant. We're gonna audit it. More people are gonna get hurt. Someone's probably gonna end up getting killed, and that's probably why these 4 committee members came out and made a public address. Because you know why? The blood's not going to be on their hands at the end of the day. As governor, I want to make sure that every student and educator in the state, including in Brockton, is safe and able to go to school and learn in a safe environment, Healy said on Monday. Well, you're not doing your job. Clearly not doing your job. Last week, school committee members held a press conference saying kids were causing chaos in the school. I think it's more than chaos. People are physically getting hurt in Brockton. You're going to have a bunch of teachers walk out of that school. And it's sad because you listen to them during the committee meetings. They want to be there. Their passion and love is teaching. But you are not providing a safe environment for these educators to be in. And now students don't even want to be there. And we found out it's about a third of the 4,200, 4,300 students that go there that are causing problems. That's over 1,000 students in that school that is causing the chaos. Brockton Mayor Robert Sullivan opposed the National Guard soldiers at the high school. Of course. And let's hear from some of those very smart parents down there that bringing in the National Guard is not the solution at this point. If it's not the solution, then why are you not controlling your child? Do you even know where your child is right now? Because they're probably the ones that are causing the problem. Let's play this.
Smiles and signs of support on full display in Brockton this morning, as parents, teachers, and community leaders cars bringing Brockton High students to school on the first day of class since the largest high school in the state was thrust into the national spotlight.
Any student that think they're going to see a National Guard that's walking up and down that hallway, they are not going to want to come to school.
It might frighten them. They're not going to want to come to school. Well, how about this? Maybe you'll keep the troublemakers away. So the people that want to be there and be productive will come to school and feel protected. How about that? Because you know why? Probably her child's probably one of them that's causing trouble.
Honestly, I'm for whatever helps BHS. And if that's the National Guard temporarily,
Someone with a
then I'm
brain.
for it.
Are they going to be in uniform? Are they going to
Oh
have
God, they might
weapons
be in
with
uniform.
We don't need the National Guard.
I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to hold a weapon. They're just going to be there as an authority figure. They probably will be in uniform. Or maybe they would come up with a casual uniform. But clearly the job is not getting done here in Brockton High.
However, we did need something that was going to light some attention.
That attention came from last week's request by 4 Brockton School Committee members to have the National Guard sent into the high school because of violence, security concerns, and substance abuse that the committee members claim has reached a critical point.
We're not asking them to deploy a whole
Yeah.
army to our school. We're asking for support.
Yeah, the National Guard's not coming to Brockton. Good turnout here.
Brockton's Mayor Robert
This
Sullivan said
fucking lackey right here can't even control and doesn't even know where $14.4 million of missing money right now. I don't know. No one knows. You listen to the committee meetings. Where's the 14.4? I don't know. Superintendent doesn't know. He don't know. Let's ask Maura Healy. She probably don't know either. Oh, we're going to do a forensic audit. We've been hearing about this for a fucking year. A year in Brockton. They're not doing anything. They're not doing anything about it. It's all handshakes and smiles to these people just to hold that position of power.
says the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education is
Fucking
going to
idiot.
fund a 100% school safety audit on Brockton High, and stresses that what Brockton needs is collaboration at the local and state level despite the national noise.
And I'll tell you, I was getting calls from people in California,
Yeah.
and I respectfully disagree. I don't think the National Guard here on the grounds of Brockton High is the
What are you
appropriate.
going to do, Sullivan? What are you going to do, Mayor Sullivan? Tell us your plan. Tell us your plan. I was looking in the committee meeting tonight. I don't even think he's there because he threw it on Cobbs to get down there and talk about it.
endeavor.
This past week, especially difficult for parents fielding questions from their concerned students.
One thing that she says is, are they really that bad?
Yeah, they are.
You know, and that kind of like broke my heart. to hear
Yeah,
that.
I mean, kids are getting stabbed. Teachers are getting their arms broken. Is it really that bad? Yeah, it is. It's out of control. And someone's going to end up getting killed. And it's going to be a very sad situation. You know, we don't need Brockton High to turn into one of these mass casualties. Someone goes off the hinge. Let's get control of it. And clearly, these people here are not doing the job. So I'm speaking here to the residents of Massachusetts. Think the next time you vote, if you live in this community, these people that have power, Cobb, Sullivan, Healy, next time you vote, don't vote for these people. They want nothing to do with protecting your kids and these teachers that go there to teach. I'm telling you right now.
Because they're not bad kids.
But just as emotional for the former students.
This is a school that I went to. It gave me a lot of opportunities in life.
Including Manuel Lopes, who graduated from Brockton High 11 years ago, but was out here today to show support and to be part of the solution.
A lot of negativity, and that's something that always somehow gets focused on in Brockton. There's always negativity, but there's a lot of positive that goes around. You see it here, everybody's united. You got, the melting pot of America here.
And while this morning's rally won't fix the $14 million deficit that Brockton Public Schools is currently facing, those who rallied here today hope that
Where's
the
the
silver
money?
lining will be that it'll bring
Where'd
the
the money
community
go?
together to make this school the best it can possibly be for the students and teachers
That's
here.
the reason they can't get this under control. Because that money is missing. $14.4 million. Where is that money? This was being called out months before Sullivan was getting ready to be reelected. There was a whistleblower. We talked about it. Hey, you're going to be way over budget. Hey, there's a bunch of money missing. Oh, we just throw it under the carpet. Need to get it reelected. And then all of a sudden, when I'm reelected, oh, hey, by the way, there's a $14.4 million deficit. I have no idea where it went. So we're going to call in an auditor, a forensic auditor, to go through this and figure out what happened. These people don't care about Brockton High. I'm telling you. And it's not only happening here in Brockton. This is happening in your school system as well, too. I'm telling you.
Reporting in Brockton, Matt Reed,
And it's a clear example of what's going on in this country. You know, we talk about putting all this money into education when we want to educate our kids. We want to do the best for our kids. It ain't happening anymore. These people don't care. All they care about is their paycheck at the end of the day. Am I getting my paycheck? Did I get reelected? Do I get to sit at the head of the table? That's it. And then when they're called upon and they're needed in their community, and they need to have the answers to fix things. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. No one knows anything. No one knows anything. You're all being fooled. These people don't care. So next time you're at the ballot box, vote these people out. They don't care. All right, let's catch up in here in the meeting here. We're about
Okay, thank you so much for your patience and joining
This
us.
is a live meeting
Again,
today.
back here at the Policy Subcommittee meeting at the Arnone Theater. Thank you so much for your patience. At this point, we are on discussion number 4, which is the Brockton High School cell phone policy. And what we
Cell
were
phone
able
policy.
to receive in the meantime
real
is
easy. How about this? When someone comes into a school and a student steps in, you collect their phone at the beginning of the day. Or how about this? If I catch you with your phone, I'm taking your phone, we're bringing it down to the office. You can pick it up at the end of the day. I'm going to tell you right now, students not going to have their phone out because they're not going to want to take the walk of shame at the end of the school day, and they're going to have to stand in line with 40 other kids standing there waiting to retrieve their cell phone, and they're going to be late for whatever they need to do. Pretty simple solution. Don't bring your phone to
version of a
school.
proposed policy, and I'm going to pass this one off to Dr. Jim Cobbs to talk about where we're at with the
Cobbs.
policy and with the
This
yonder
guy
bags.
fucking don't know anything either.
Okay, thank you. First, I apologize for being late. I like the creature
Late.
habit. I went over to the high school and went to all the way to the little theater. Like, oh, wrong place. So I apologize. So as Kathy said, this is the new cell phone policy, which this committee needs to take a look at.
Worry about
we
cell
highlighted
phone.
some of the areas that we had questions.
How about fixing the violence?
I did speak to the yonder representative again today, and regarding well, maybe I should back up, because the last time you voted to approve the purchase order for the $137,250, we did have the purchase order set to go, and then we got an email from the procurement officer, Mike Morris, the city procurement officer. And even though they're a sole source entity, there's a limit of $100,000. So what we're looking at, I had a couple of conversations with the yonder
Does this guy
representatives, and
project
because of our policy the
confidence?
way it is right now, we're not going to implement the full policy in practice, all the yonder bags for every student this year. So I asked him if we could buy the ones we need for this year and get the program set up. And then in the next fiscal year in July, look at purchasing the rest of them. So they're willing to work with us on that. So we can work on, we can get what we need this year and get the policy started. So
get it
Mr.
started.
Rodriguez.
So it's basically doing a pilot program to introduce the full.
And
So here, Rodriguez was one that spoke out, and I'm sorry, I forget this young lady's name. She was one of the ones that spoke up at the press conference too about the National Guard.
And we had a discussion. I think an optimal usage of it would be, and Mr. McCaskill, if you want to join in the conversation, we just re-implemented the in-school suspension. And that's a place where we could use the pouches, put the phones in the pouch for that period until the students, or for the day when the students are there, and then when they leave, open the pouch and let them take their phone with them, so we can implement that sooner than later.
How does that work for the in-school suspension?
How much does this guy get
in terms
paid
of
a year?
How it correlates to the cell phone policy? Is that what you're saying, that that's an opportunity right now where we can remove the cell phones from them while
Correct.
they're in school suspension?
That's correct.
Ms. Oliver.
Pouches that we
He makes $144,000
We
a
can
year.
set that number. I said at least 1,000.
This is $144,000 a year. $144,000 of taxpayer money right here. Do you feel confident about this right now?
To get it started, so we'll have plenty, and then we'll have spares on hand, because there is the other part of the policy where you have the 3 strikes rule, basically, and they have to lock it up all day long for repeat offenders.
His salary is 207% higher than a normal superintendent. His salary is 207% higher than the national average of superintendents.
suspensions.
Mr. McCaskill?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, we have started the in-house suspension program.
Now, this guy I like. New principal of Brockton High. When he speaks, he's got confidence, and I feel like he's going to get some shit done. but he needs the cooperation from the top because they're his boss.
Started the week prior to vacation.
How's that going?
It's a buzz around school now. It's definitely a buzz, and it's something in which I think we definitely need it. And I want to applaud our behavior interventionists who have been manning that, and they have been just simply nothing short of spectacular in doing it. And they are buying in. Students are coming in and being placed here for the wandering and other offenses. And we have had anywhere from 10 to 40 students in there on a daily basis. And for our vantage point, it's
welcome in, everybody.
It's doing its magic. And we just got to stay very consistent with it. And it's something in which when that buzz gets around the school and when you hear in the hallways, you better move because we don't want to go to in-house. I think it's having an impact on the school. Slowly but surely, it's having
Sullivan
an
is there.
impact
That's
on the
Sullivan right
student.
there.
Students wandering in the hallway, we still have a ways to go with it. But again, I think it's a great start.
Thank you. Mr. Rodriguez?
From the moment that a student enters in-house suspension, how is their day planned out? As far as, doing their schoolwork,
Nope, they took it away.
How is the day planned out from the morning they get in there to the end?
If they're going in, and let's say it is at the beginning
They
of the
said that the policy was too tough on the students. It was too tough on the students. It would have caused way too many problems.
day, they have a work packet before they even start. And so it's some preliminary work.
I agree.
There's this general information. There's an intake that they do, intake form that the staff performs. They are given a packet of work. That work, we actually have some help from our CTE director, Dr. Ferreira, and a lot of it's from a workforce development perspective package. So again, and get them thinking about more career, but that's also in lieu of the work that we also have of just identifying why you're here. And it's just a series of questions that only they can answer. And it's like a personal profile for them going in. So that really buys us some time until we can get the actual work from their teachers to really get the ball rolling. So, because sometimes those requests are not met within a certain time frame. But again, with the work that we have from Dr. Ferreira, which is very pertinent and not just waste of time, task oriented, but the preliminary work that we have with them really doing a self-assessment of whether they're, where's it gotten them with their current behaviors, where are they going with this, and really do some personal reflection and introspection. And it's proven to be pretty effective so far.
Are the adjustment counselors, guidance counselors involved in the in-house suspension?
We're getting to that. We're getting to that point. We're definitely getting to that point, but just getting it up and running. We're getting kids really situated and understanding the rationale of why we're doing it and why they're there and as such. And I think that's eventually that tool. I think that other piece of it that you spoke of with the adjustment counselor and even the school counselors, I think we are a pertinent part of it as well.
Thank you.
Ms. Azak?
Thank you. Principal McCaskill, just a quick question.
McCaskill, I'm going to tell you, Principal McCaskill, you sound like the only one that's standing up there representing Brockton High right now amongst these committee members that stood up the other day that has any half a brain. So bravo to you. You sound confident. You sound like you're getting this under control. And look at, again, it's going to be the power that they give him. Cobbs, Sullivan, and Healy. Let this man do his job. Give him the tools to do it. I feel he has the confidence and the track record to do it.
You mentioned anywhere from 10 to 40 students. Do we have a plan for the repeat students that are constantly going into suspension? Do we look a little further out? This is great to start, but are we going to give them a little more attention, have some kind of a program, work with them? Those are the ones we really need to focus on, are the ones that are just going to be repeat in-house suspension.
No, and you go back to, and I know that we've been comparing this a lot, and I'm going to pause a lot probably this when I have ideas in my head, so forgive me and for fair use anyway. You go back to Lean On Me, Eastside High. What did they do? They went and talked to their parents. Go talk to the parents. Tell them your student is being disruptive. Try that approach. And what did Clark say? If their parents can't read, then we help them. We help the parents or whatever. Just have a conversation. You know, that doesn't happen. I mean, do they even do PTO or PT? Is it PTA or PTO? PTA meetings anymore? Parent teacher night? Does that even happen anymore? Is there even DARE programs in schools anymore? Yeah, you smoke crack.
That we, another way to get through to them, to work with them.
I think that's the piece in which we get when you involve the adjustment counselors and the such. I think that piece will be that we can cut down on some of the recidivism that we may see going forward. So their work is going to be crucial to the success, not of the program itself, but most importantly, getting those students better acclimated into school.
Thank you. And when did we start? I know when did the actual in-house suspension start? Was it last week?
Yeah,
2 weeks ago?
The week prior to vacation.
So that's not bad. I mean, we have to start making changes to start seeing a difference. So I appreciate that. I mean, that's one change, that's going to be a little positive that we can look at to try to help our students rather than, watch them stay back and not be able to move forward. It's all about being there to help
this guy right now.
So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Principal McCaskill, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Secondly, have you had a chance to see the updated cell phone policy? I know that we had the original policy, and then Dr. Connors, I think she just spoke to you about this. And so I just want to kind of put it on record that at this point, you're going to have a chance to see the new cell phone policy and present it at the faculty meeting on Thursday, so that at least we could hear some voices from the faculty, because I think that's really important right now.
And that can definitely be on our agenda.
Yeah, I would. I think that three-pronged approach between this faculty, I'm like, unless we're all in this together, like, there's no way it's going to work.
Absolutely.
Okay. So at this point, I want to just go around the room and see, does anybody have any questions in regards to the new cell phone policy that we want to talk about, or we have questions on, or would we like Principal McCaskill to take this to faculty on Thursday, and then we revisit for final edits and be done with it by like end of business next week, and we can roll it out? Mr. Chairman?
In terms of the yonder bags, I spoke to Lieutenant
Ms. Sullivan.
She was the mayor of Salem. Salem High is a lot smaller than Brockton High, but it was very, very successful. In terms of what Mr. Rodriguez asked you, like 1,000 would be like a test case, a pilot, right? How are they selected? How would the students be selected, those 1,000 students?
Like I said, it'll start with the in-house suspension, and then we'll work right now with the policy you have is a 3-strike policy.
Okay.
They will have them in
I'm just going to keep adding to that. Okay.
Well, that allows us to get all of the equipment set up, the station for the magnets, and issue to the staff, train the staff up, and then have the people on site from the Honda, because that's part of the package too for training for the staff.
Okay.
So, we're really training for the big opening. So when we go, policy goes school-wide.
Perfect. Thank you.
Dr. Cobbs, when do you anticipate, between making the decision on the finalizing the policy and actually us finally getting to the point where we can order the underbags, do you have an ETA on when you think we're going to actually be able to go live?
We'll have, when you'll approve this tonight, essentially we'll have those underbags shortly, within a week or two, and start the training process.
Okay, and so just to again throw this out there, Principal McCaskill, you're going to present this on Thursday, and then will you in turn make sure that Dr. Cobbs knows what the feedback is from faculty, and then he can circulate the new updated policy if there's anything that's changed, and if it hasn't changed, just say it's good as it is, or a couple of tweaks, and then we can get it into the record, and then we can order the yonder bags, whatever amount we're going to do, but we can at least move and start on it.
Exactly.
To Ms. Azak's point, I agree. Like we have to do something. We have to act quickly.
So just so you know, Mr. McCaskill
I'd
rolled it
say.
out to the general staff at the high school, but the administrative staff has already reviewed this and made the edits.
Okay, good. All right, any questions in regards, Ms. Azak? Sorry, Mr. Gomes followed by Ms. Azak.
I just wanted to clarify. So we have not purchased any pouches yet.
Not yet. No.
Okay, because
This is one of the gentlemen that spoke up too during that committee meeting, the press conference.
Meeting when we approved the cell phone policy, I thought it was going to be implemented after the break.
Yeah, but there was a problem because of the procurement. And again, the procurement officer, Mr. Morris at City Hall, kind of put the brakes on things because we wouldn't be in compliance with the procurement laws if we purchased a whole set all at once.
Okay.
Because it's
we're
a
limited to $100,000.
Yeah, I was going to say that because it's $100,000 like earmark. And once you get beyond that, it requires a lot more in regards to procurement. And Ms. Azak.
So my question was, we're going to purchase 1,000. What are we paying for the 1,000? Is it going to cost us more to order 1,000 than it
it's
would
the
for
same price.
4,000?
It's the
Same price.
$40 each.
So that just makes more sense. So
Right.
do we have a final number as to what it's going to cost us?
Well, eventually we'll buy 4,000, but we'll be ready to roll out the full policy.
So 4,000 at $40?
Right.
No other fees?
Well, yeah, there are training fees and setup fees with the staff. I think the last quote was about
160 grand. How are we buying?
25,000 for the setup and training.
Okay. Honestly, I would rather put the 40,000, see if this works
Right.
before we spend 160,000.
Right.
So definitely, I do like this approach, but again, I mean, I'm looking at the steps to a successful Yonder implementation.
What?
The sheet that we have, and training doesn't really look like it's going to be that complicated. I mean, I'm just put it in the machine, hit the button.
Yeah,
pretty much like they do at Macy's and some of the other stores. Unlock it.
Exactly.
So,
but it will for the full rollout because you have to, every student coming in the door, you have to put it in the bag and lock it.
shut their phones off, put it in the bag, and it will be at the entrances
Right, where the
in the
students come in.
morning. So
Yeah,
our
okay.
teachers are not going to have to be
Right,
responsible
right,
for
that's correct.
confronting the students. You know,
And that's
they
where the
haven't.
training, the Yonder people will be there with us when we implement and start, when we open up and have the students come in.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
I mean, I would like to be there. So if you can at least let the committee know
of course.
once they're in, and we can, those that want to be able, I'd like to see it in person, see it in actually how we're getting this done. Because we also don't want to hold them up and have them standing long lines out the door like we did with it. But again,
Yeah,
routine, they
in
get
the
used to it,
beginning,
phones
it
off.
will be. It's, it'll be a slow process to start, but then it'll go more efficiently each day.
Okay, no, definitely, because I know other schools, actually my nephew, my cousin,
Right, Ben.
he got caught with his phone in Tennessee, and I'm sure they're watching. He had suspension on a Saturday, had to
Yeah.
sit in suspension for having his phone.
That's what Healing
So,
Time said.
You know, it just, and
Bring
a lot
back
of these are
Saturday
private
detentions.
schools too, so, you know, we have to, I think we're helping the students, they're not realizing, I think we're gonna help them in the long run. by-
And we will, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, you finished.
No, I'm fine, yeah.
We will work with the school administration and the staff to, if we have to, for the first few days, do maybe a half-day schedule, and do compress this period schedule just to get the students in the door first. so they don't miss the
4,200.
classes.
It's
So
the
we can-
largest high school in Massachusetts. It's like 4,200 students. It's insane. That's a college campus. That's insane. It is insane. It's way too big. He's at Cobb's makes 144. 144. I looked it up. 144,000.
We can work that out.
Thank you.
How about this?
Yes. Mr. Chairman.
Don't come to school with your phone.
Mr. Clarkson's here. I just had a question for the CFO.
Absolutely. Mr.
Troy.
Clarkson, would you mind
This
coming
guy,
up to the
another
podium for
wacky failure.
just a second?
Sullivan.
Thank you, Principal Ms. Caskell.
Thank you, Mr. McCaskill. Principal McCaskill.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for being here. I know you're scheduled to be here for 7, but if it's a $40,000 purchase, I know originally it was $137, but I just wanted to run it by you because of after what Mr. Plant mentioned to all of us last week. So if it's a $40,000 cost, which will be purchased in this fiscal year, what are your thoughts on that?
So
Pretty
we
good
have
solution,
been in our
Casey.
estimates for fiscal year 24. Good evening. For the record, I'm Troy Clarkson, Chief Financial Officer. We have been carrying an amount for the Yonder bags
Okay.
in our estimates for this year.
Okay.
And it has been at the larger amount. So the expenditure of 40,000 fits within the projections we have for this year.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Cobbs, for
Okay,
getting
Rogue.
creative in terms of how to
You're welcome. We
of
gotta make it
getting
work.
us,
Yeah,
to
ban
at
phones.
least getting us to roll this out and splitting the cost between this year and next year. Mr. Rodriguez.
No, nothing
The
yet.
pouches of 40.
No one has said anything about parents. Isn't that amazing? Yep. Like we talked about before, Tyrone. I think you were here in one of the first shows that I talked about. Let me ask the chat, where does this all start? Where does this all start? Type it in the chat. Where does this behavior all start? Where does this behavior start? Type it in the chat. There you go. Everybody, home. Yep, because this behavior is allowed to take place at home. So your kid is out of control. They're doing awful things. They're probably getting in fights outside of school, and they just bring that shit in. Parents don't care.
What about the locking mechanism?
That all
How many
comes
of-
with the setup. That's part of it.
How many of those are we?
Well, it depends. They're going to do a walkthrough. I put that on pause to do a walkthrough of the school and do a layout of it. So we can get that number once we have the reps on the ground again. But we pause that. They were going to be here actually today. So because of the difference in the price and everything, I want to have a committee kind of know what we're going to do first. So, but
part of it, in the cafeteria.
Yeah, that's part of it.
You have a gym, the auditorium, that you have more than enough so the students can unlock
Yes,
it.
absolutely.
All right, thank you.
The only other thing I was going to say is that when Mr. Rodriguez and I went out to Springfield, one of the things that they did talk about is the first day was really cumbersome, trying to get everyone used to like locking them. And so the pilot of having 1,000, I think will ease ourselves into it versus, to Ms. Azak's point, having like with the metal
All at
detectors when
once.
we had everybody outside of the high school. So it's, at least we're moving forward. So.
And that's going to be unavoidable, the delay initially, but it'll get better, get more efficient.
Any other questions in regards to the cell phone policy for the group? And then we can move
Dad.
on to item discussion number 5, which is laptop restitution, which I'm not 100% sure what that is. And so I figured that I'm going to pass this one off to you again, Dr. Cobbs.
Well, we've been working on this policy for quite a while, the laptop restitution, because, and particularly what we started this process actually back when we had the pandemic and school shut down, and we had to go into the getting laptops out to all the students, and we were finding that the laptops were being lost, they were being damaged, they were being quote, stolen.
Madam Chair, sorry to cut you off. Where is that on the agenda? We just, we don't see it listed on the agenda.
No, you're right. it's
Number
not.
5 is discussion of
Yeah, you're
BHS
right.
dress code.
That was,
Oh
it was
my
on
God.
before, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll come back with that one.
No.
Yes, okay. I'm so
It's the
sorry.
dress
I have
code.
that
I
on
will,
my
though.
agenda, but it must have been updated.
Yeah,
So
I
number
will,
5
Irish
is
girl.
discussion
I'll
of
be
the
doing some
Brockton
shows
High
on
School
it.
dress code.
Yes, thank you.
Sorry, thank you very much. So I know that we had discussed in the past about having hoodies, and this is again something that Mr. Rodriguez and I both, when we walked through Springfield, it was, thank you. When we walked through Springfield, it was evident that students were adhering to the dress code policy. And it wasn't anything that we were requiring. It was not a uniform. It's just basically giving us the ability to see every student's face without having a hood on them and safety for their own sakes. So talk to us a little bit about where we are with the dress code policy at this point, because
Well-
there's a new proposed policy in here.
And quite honestly, it's problematic. And again, the students started off the school year kind of where they left off last year. It's not so much a problem with mask or like we had before with the mask and the hoodie and everything else. You had no idea who the student was. But it's an issue still with hats and hoodies and crop shirts, and those are still problematic. Headphones.
I'm only 20 minutes into this meeting, and they're talking about cell phones and hoodies. How about this? How about you talk about how you're going to stop the beatings and the teachers getting hurt and the broken arms and the stabbings? Have we heard anything about that yet? How about we hear about the $14.4 million that went missing, the drug dealing in the school, the drugs that are being smoked in the hallways and dealt in the hallways, teachers afraid to use the restroom because they fear that they're going to be beaten to death, the sex that's everywhere, the alleged ST that's going on in that school. Let's hear about that stuff.
And earbuds or cell phones, et cetera. So it's still a problem. I don't know, Principal McCaskill, again, if you want to speak to that or Or not.
He's never going to return.
There's no, we can't have that because resource officers will scare the students. They went back and talked about this in 2015. They were afraid. The students were afraid, so they took all that away, and they were upset about the in-house suspension program, so they had to get rid of that because the students, they were going to cry if they did something wrong, and they had to go down to the in-house suspension. If I do that, I'm going to have a little tear. I'm going to cry. So they cried, and they said the students rose up above, wanted to stop all those programs, and here we are 10 years later, and look where we're at now with Brockton High. It's insane. It's a battlefield there.
Here he comes.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
I know. I was just thinking the same
Just
thing.
get him a chair over here. It'll be fine. Exactly.
Yeah, of course, Catherine. I agree. Who are we clapping for? The Catskill. I like this guy.
I think there was a request to speak a little louder from everyone from the gallery. One of the things coming in, and again, just being there for roughly going on 2 months, I mean, it's a policy that has not been enforced. I mean,
I want to make it very, very clear. This is not a white issue. This is not a black issue. This is not a woman issue. This is not a man issue. This is not a whatever issue you want to throw out there right now. This is a we issue. This is a community issue that is not being fixed. And it's bullshit to throw all that crap at this. Black, white, Asian, whatever you want, a purple, red hair, whatever it is. It has nothing to do with this. It is a people problem. This is a community problem that needs to be solved. This is a kid problem. I don't care if they're black, white, Asian, whatever they are, purple, green, red. This is a student issue. This is a teacher issue. This is the leaders that I have written down on this piece of paper right now. These are the people that are failing these students. These people in this room right now are failing these students. That is the issue. That is the issue. This spans across all races, creeds, sexes, religions, whatever you want to say. This is a people problem right now, and it needs to get fixed, and it's not getting fixed. And people are getting hurt, seriously hurt. I mean, this is not something like, oh, my kid got punched in the arm and got a bruise. This kid's getting stabbed and violence and teachers getting hurt.
Be honest
Insane.
and very transparent
Out
about
of
it.
hand.
And when we have a situation like this in which students have gone nearly 6 months without enforcement. And so now in the month of March, we're going to enforce a policy that has already been in the books. And that's going to put going to put a lot of strain on the administrative team. And rightfully so, because of the timing of this. And so if that is the will of the school committee, we will enforce it. But I know there will be backlash. You know, a lot of it from the students, obviously from their parents as well. And we will do our diligent duty to ensure that we are abiding and adhering to that policy. But again, this is not the most opportune time.
I understand, Tyrone. I listen.
To transition into a policy that has not been enforced.
I'm just making it clear
the
here
entire
on this
school year.
program, the way that we are reporting the story here, or I am reporting the story.
Ms. Azak?
Thank you, Principal McCaskill. I agree with you. It's really tough. As much as we do need the dress code policy, we're putting a lot on our staff right at the moment with the cell phone, with everything. I mean, I guess it's hard to change a policy in March. And by the time we actually get it implemented, it's probably April. And we're expecting students to just change the way things are done. We don't want to add any more to our staff. I think we have enough to deal with at the moment. Again, if it becomes a problem, I mean, I was there, I witnessed it, I was there with you, the headphones, the hoodies. I would like to see what the staff would say and go with the majority. To be honest, there are eyes and there are ears. They're in this field every day. I'm not. I'd maybe leave it up
You're
to
right.
them. I agree with you, trying to change a policy or implementing a policy that we've had. It's just we haven't implemented it. We don't have the bodies in our school to enforce a policy. I don't know how the rest of the committee feels. It's just.
I agree. I have to be honest with you. I agree. I
She's
think
one of the
that
ones that spoke
at
up.
this point, we roll out the cell phone policy, gain success and traction with that, and not be pummeling students and administration with, new things that they have to police. And I hate to put it that way, but that's essentially what we're asking them to do. And then, and this is something maybe we consider for the fall of 2024.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I don't mean to speak out. Definitely starting the school year makes more sense, but where we only have a few months left. I mean, our teachers and our staff might think differently, but we're trying to do so much in a short period of time. I just don't want to
You're right,
add any
Heather.
more onto the staff's plate as far as, you're taking the cell phones away and now you're dealing with the clothes. I mean, unless the clothing is really, really.
If it's provocative, I mean, if we were talking about something just extremely provocative,
Yeah.
and that's when we do have to take note. And I think those are the exceptions.
Because
but
there were no
sometimes
rules,
what's
GM.
provocative
The
for
rules got
one
dropped.
Correct.
may not be provocative for others. But again, I think just doing our due diligence and making sure that we are aware of these things, I think that goes for a great first step.
Definitely. For those that remember, I know I'm dating myself, but Dr. Applin, you used to have to kneel, and Dr. Applin would make sure if your skirt or your shorts were that short, but again, everyone that I've heard from in the past couple of weeks, when we were in Brockton High, we couldn't do this. Well, it's a different Brockton High right now. So it's going to take a little bit of time to make some of these
The
changes.
reason that it's a different Brockton High right now is that there has been people that have probably been in a position of power to regulate and set policies in this school that have failed at their job or just don't give a damn. And I'm telling you, if you haven't watched the movie Lean on Me, you need to watch it. Morgan Freeman, 1989. Watch it tonight. This is exactly what's going on in Brockton High. People don't care. The teachers don't care. But in most cases, I think here the teachers do care and they want something done. And I think they had a failed principal for a very long time. Kevin McCaskill sounds like a fine gentleman, sounds like a great leader. He's only been there a couple of weeks. I can't believe the stress that's been thrown at his shoulders. Seems like he's able to take on that stress and hopefully can start implementing some policies there. And we have real change. But keep in mind, this is all going to come from the people that are inside that room, especially Cobbs and Sullivan. And now Healy. They got to let this gentleman do his job. Let him enforce the rules and let him get this school straightened out.
And to be able to get some of the support from the students and the staff, I think just making some minor changes to get us to the end of the year. And then come September, this is what's going to happen. Thank you.
Ms. Oliver?
I agree.
I think to piggyback off of Ms. Azak, right now we have more concern with safety. I think it's something that we have to more focus on safety at this time and focus in September about dress code. If it's like something that has to do with safety, then we can focus on. But right now we have more concerning stuff that we have to focus on.
Ms. Sullivan?
Thank you, Principal McCaskill. What do you think that we could maybe implement now on the dress code? Like, what kind of things could we start with?
For the most part, when we're going through those Hollywood hoods, and one of the things I've noticed, and again, this is just a personal observation. Students are compliant. When you tell them to take their hoods off, they'll take the hoods off. Now, when they get around the corner, the hood may go back on, but yet when they are told, they comply. And I think consistency is the key. That's on us as the adults.
And discipline.
And also, with respect, and I think when we're talking about that dress code,
and
it has to be more, it has to be beyond what we have written down here. It's not because it's a rule and a regulation and a policy for a school district, but it's in preparation for the world of work. And when we see it through that lens, that You can't go to work looking like this.
He's right.
Or you can't go into certain establishments.
You know, something that I always taught as a leader, I always used to teach as a leader. When when I was a manager at a job that I was at, and I had employees under me, and they were late to work, you know, and I worked with a lot of students or young adults that would be going on to their career after they graduate high school. And I would always say to them, I would say, what are you going to school for? Well, I want to go to school to be an engineer. Okay, awesome. I think that's a great career. You're going to make a lot of money if you're good at it, and you'll do well. But let me ask you something. What if you are the head engineer on a job, and you need to be there at 8 a.m. in the morning to make a very crucial decision on that job site? Let's just say to move a piece of steel somewhere on a steel structure, okay? And they're waiting for you. One, this could be costing a lot of money because you have a crane that's holding a piece of steel and you need to direct it or tell them to put it some particular place. So you're costing a lot of money. Or two, what if you're not there to make that decision and someone gets hurt? So think about that. Use this as practice, because I understand this is not your career. This is only a transition to your career, but you can make all your mistakes here at this job and be prepared for your career. You know, I always used to say that, and it go, oh yeah, you're right. You know, it would click in. And guess what? If they weren't adhering to what I was saying, then there was discipline. And I would say to them, the next time that you are late, you're getting written up. And after 3 times, you're out of here. So you either want to work here and be productive and be on time, or you can go. I mean, the choice is yours. I don't hold your hand.
Looking like this. Because it's, again, that's societal. That has nothing to do with a school department policy. So it's something that they can transition into successfully. That's why, you know, Springfield with their dress code, it works. And I think if we start that and we implement it, you know, with some integrity, starting at the beginning of the school year, I think it really can have some legs very early. But when we get back to, again, a provocative outfit, it's not sending that child home. It's providing them with a t-shirt, male or female. Now, if they refuse the t-shirt, then your parents called. Now, if you don't want to comply there, then your parent has the obligation to take you home.
Is that what
Because
the
that's
policy
giving,
is?
and that's just following a progressive approach to solving an issue.
Yeah.
And that's, mhm.
Thank you.
Because I have more faith in our students and our families that they can, if we just say no dress code, you know, I think we could start with something that we have to be presentable or something.
Yeah, and I think as we go along, and again, one of the things, you know, I think that it's a bugaboo of mine, young men without a belt. And, you know, and again, and it's something that we don't need to see all that business. We really don't.
Right.
And because again, it's decorum. It's about proper decorum and carrying yourself in a certain way, not just in school, but in society.
Oh yeah, I know, Kyle.
And so those are things that we can do.
When I hear the word progressive, I get very scared. It's a very well-used term here in the state of Massachusetts. I listen, Patrick. I like Principal McCaskill. He sounds like he's very educated. He sounds like a man that's going to put things in action. You know, I got to give him a little bit of leeway here. He's only been there a couple of weeks. I'm sure there's tons of stress on his shoulders, but we'll see what happens in Brockton. All right, let's keep playing through here.
That are very immediate, and you give them what that means and the ramifications of someone perceiving you in a certain way. And so when we start using that context on things, it really starts to change the way they act, the way they think, and how they move forward.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know, Tyrone. That P word.
Yep, Ms. Azak?
Thank you, Principal McCaskill. So you touched base on the t-shirts. So for years, they used to have, I think they were like 4X. I know, you know, Ms. Walder, during her time, they were like fluorescent orange. Just something to like, you're going to dress like this. We're going to throw a t-shirt on you. And that's how you're going to spend your day and know tomorrow to come well dressed. So It wasn't expensive. Do we still have any of those T-shirts or?
There are quite a few T-shirts still floating around that high school.
And I think we need to start using them. But no, thank you. I know other principals have implemented something similar to that. So you've only been in this position a short period of time,
Yeah.
and you jumped feet first. So we do appreciate, stepping in, but we have a lot of fixing to do.
Oh, absolutely.
And now we're starting, so we're going to see change. It's not going to happen overnight. We just need a little bit of time. People need to be patient with us. We will see change.
And that's
So
the expectation.
Thank you.
That's the expectation.
Well, while you're up there, I was hoping you could stay there because we can move to discussion item 6, which I'm sure you're going to be right back at the podium for, and that's about vaping. And again, we're responding to this because of, everyone else responding to it. And so again, another policy, which I completely understand the stress that it puts on administration at this time of the year. But can you talk to us a little bit about the vaping issues and challenges right now? And if that is also something that you feel we could start the new fall off with, like you said, with integrity on the right foot, if that's something we could do fall 2024.
Well, I think with the current policy on hand, it's really cut and dry. It's an illegal substance on school grounds.
Yeah, smoking pot.
So when students are caught with it, again, if they're caught with it, they face disciplinary action in accordance to the code of conduct. So students are not only vaping, marijuana use. So when they are caught with those things, and again, if they're in hindsight of a camera and we can identify the appropriate disciplinary measures are taken, it's only when it's in those stairwells that aren't manned. And then you can hear, everyone has their olfactory senses are always going. You can smell certain substances. And then you flee, you see students and they don't have anything on them after a legal search of their possessions. There's not too much we can do. But again, if they are in possession of those items, it is against Brockton Public School policy, and we can act accordingly from a disciplinary
Now
perspective.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I know I'm probably not going to be the most popular person when I ask this, so please forgive me. Now, I'm not a marijuana advocate. I don't advocate marijuana. If you want to smoke pot, you can smoke your brains out. Have fun. Enjoy it. I don't want to make this a huge marijuana debate, but I just want to throw this out there. Do you think, let's just be logical here, okay? And I know people are going to really disagree with me on this one. And I'm probably going to catch some shit. But let me just ask you. I just want a simple yes or no. Truthfully, let me ask. Truthfully, okay? Do you think that the legalization of marijuana have contributed to a lot of the actions that are going on in school, like the illegal pot smoking, okay, or cigarette smoking? Do you think that has encouraged the behavior to do that? Just a quick yes or no. Just a quick yes or no. I don't care if you smoke pot. You can smoke your brains out. Have fun. Okay. Again, I don't want to know your business. I don't care about your business. Smoke your brains out. I don't smoke pot. I don't advocate it. To me, it just doesn't affect my life. But if you want to smoke pot, smoke your brains out. Okay, so we have some people that have said yes. Majority of the people said yes. There was a few no's. That's fine. I respect it. I respect the yeses. I respect the no's. But okay. Anyway, let's play on. Just a thought.
But again, to your point, if we haven't been enforcing it all year, even though the policy is solid, if we haven't been enforcing it, is that something that we, are we enforcing it or are we not enforcing it enough?
I think it is. It has been enforced. And I think now just really making sure that we do more due diligence in doing that. I think one of the things is from a search perspective. As you know, school law and criminal law are two different things. So if we have a suspicion, suspicion of someone having some, we can check bags.
Yeah.
And not that we want to become that type of school,
invasive,
but very evasive.
yeah.
But I think those are things that we can do.
Point.
One of the things I think in certain hot spots in the school, we've really minimized the use, especially when we look at the fine arts building.
I'm not Will.
And
I don't know why. I just want to clear this up for everybody. I am not Will. I'm not the glarer. My name is Brian. You're on LTL right now. I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is a troll or what it is, but this has been happening on my channel for the last like week and a half. My name is not Will. You're channel in. I'm Brian. Brian. It's very different from Will. I think the bong hit might have got to your head a little bit. I am not Will. I'm not Will. I know who the glare is. I like what he does. I respect what he does. We collaborate. We have fun. We cover the same stuff. I'm not Will. I'm completely different. But that has been happening a lot on my channel lately. Dude, you don't rip any more bong hits right now. Lay off a little bit. All right, let's keep playing on. That was a good one. Thank you. Thank you for that good laugh. But no, I like the glare. Will's great. But I'm not Will. I'm Brian. You're on LTL right now.
In the early morning hours. And I want to say thank you to our school police force. Thank you for helping us out and really doing an outstanding job. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Not Will.
Their presence in the morning has just almost eliminated what we had seen early on in January and such, but it's due to their efforts and the efforts of our administrative team. So we're seeing some differences now. If we can do the same inside, and again, I think that's more of a personnel and strategically placing people in the right places. I think you'll see a slow reduction of those types of situations going on within our school. But again, we're not talking about this should take 2 or 3 years. I think, again, due diligence on all our parts, and we'll see some change.
Great. Does anyone else have questions? Ms. Azak?
It's
I like dogs too.
Under Mass General Law, Chapter, I believe it's 71, Section 2A, use of electronic cigarettes are prohibited in school buildings, grounds, buses, or school-sponsored events.
Absolutely.
So I know we haven't been as strict. I mean, I've seen people vaping at events. And again,
All right, I'm going to speed up because I think that you're going to get more detail. This is a policy meeting. I want to get into more of the solutions for Brockton High, and I think that's what the second part of this hearing is. So let's speed up because they've already been in session. Oh, yes, I like dogs. We're going to speed up here. This is just more policy right now, but let's go to the actual, let's see. Sullivan's going to speak here. I think this is what this part of the meeting is supposed to be, and we're only about 6 minutes behind. You're going to get public comment too. So let's hear.
Call the 7 o'clock special school committee.
Here we go.
We're at the Dr. William H. Unknown Theater, 135 Belmont Street here in Brockton, 02301. It is the 27th day of February, 2024, 7 o'clock. I do need to read the following into the record. This meeting will be held and will be accessible to the public via Comcast Channel 8 and also the 1071 HD version and online via the following link, which is www.youtube.com/the Brockton channels. I would ask that we please stand and salute the American flag, and please remain standing, please. Pledge of allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like us to take a moment of silence. The city of Brockton lost Anthony Zioli. Tony Zioli was the city clerk for 30 years here in the city of Brockton at City Hall. He passed away after a tough battle. Our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family that are surviving. His wake is tomorrow at Conley, and then on Friday, the funeral, I believe it's at Edith Stein. So if we could just take a moment for Mr. Zioli, please. May he rest in peace. Thank you. I would like to establish a quorum. I do want the minutes to reflect that Tim Sullivan is unable to join us today. He tried to come on via Zoom, but the Little Theater has capacity for Zoom, but unfortunately the Unknown Theater does not have capacity for Zoom. So Mr. Sullivan will not be joining us this evening. Establish a quorum, please. Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah.
Ms. Ehlers.
Here.
Mr. Gomes.
Here.
Ms. Oliver.
Here.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Here.
Ms. Azak.
Here.
I'm here. We have established a quorum. We do have a lengthy agenda tonight. We have a lengthy amount of people, and I'm thankful for the people that signed up. I also want to, on behalf of the school committee, thank everybody that arrived at Brockton High yesterday morning. Myself and my chief of staff, Sidney Merrow, there about 6:55. The place was packed on Forest Ave. It was to show support as a community to the students and the staff. So there was a real collaborative approach with nonprofits, with pastors, with civic organizations, but also with mom and dads and teachers. Principal McCaskill, you were out there. Thank you, Kevin. But again, that's what the city of Brockton needs, and we will continue to do that. At this time, the hearing of visitors is agenda item 4. If you're new to this, you have 3 minutes to speak. You please come up to the podium. This is being televised tonight. And after 3 minutes, we need to go on to the next. It looks like we have 16 people that have signed up this evening. So we will start first with Stacy McDonald, please.
Good evening, Mayor Sullivan, Dr. Cobb, school committee members. My name is Stacy McDonald, and I'm the union president for the Brockton Educational Support Professional Association, VESPA. I wanted to say one thing before I speak about what's going on and the ongoing concerns. I want to publicly thank Principal McCaskill. One of my members had a serious incident the week prior to vacation. He met with my member and immediately addressed the situation. So hats off to him. He's exactly what the high school needs, and we needed him for a long time. However, here we are again with another special school committee meeting.
Jim?
These concerns were brought to the school committee 112 days ago in November. My question to all of you, and I believe Joyce, you just mentioned that it's hard to implement a policy now in March. Well, why was there no policies implemented in November when we came to you? For the past 103 days prior to asking for help from the National Guard on February 9th, what policies and procedures have you put in place to protect our students and staff at BHS? I think I know the answer, and that's none. As we all heard yesterday, the National Guard is not coming. So with that being said, will tonight finally be the night that you share with all of us what policies and procedures that are going to be put in place immediately, starting tomorrow, to protect the staff and students at BHS. Thank you.
Fire. Coming in hot. Fire.
Arthur Diaz, please. Mr. Arthur Diaz, please.
You already know they're not going to have any plan. You know that. There's no plan.
Thank you for the stopwatch. I'm actually going to open in a prayer for myself, if that's all right. Yeah, please feel free to join me. Heavenly Father, I pray that you bless this meeting, this council, these families, these children, Lord, these police officers. Lord, I pray that the words that I share tonight glorify you. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you for joining me in prayer. I grew up here. It's been a while since I've been home, but I have heard everything that's been going on. I got a lot of friends and family. I love a lot of people in the city still. And what I wanted to say is that no, in my opinion, despite the clamors for policy and National Guard and rules and dress codes and phones, none of that's going to change anyone's heart. And I don't think Brockton has a policy problem or a police problem or a policy problem, dress problem. I don't think it's any of those things. I think it's a problem of the heart. And one thing I can tell you, I'm going to use the whole 3 minutes. One thing I can tell you is that coming to saving faith in Jesus Christ will change your heart. Now, I'm surprising a lot of people. There's people in here who have known me since I was 13. So they're probably shocked to see this version of me. And that's a good thing, because Christ offers redemption. Christ offers a new version of you. And without him changing our hearts, no policy you bring in, no amount of soldiers, no amount of dress code or legal action is going to change anything that happens with these kids, with these families, with everybody's watching, you know. And if we have a chance here as a city, in my opinion, that if we put God first, we're not afraid of it. We just stood up, 100 and something people stood up and said, one nation under God, all of us out loud. We're not afraid of it. So what I'd like to offer, again, like I said, I haven't been here in a while, but I'm willing to share this gospel, share this good news every chance you give me. be it with the students, with the staff, with the families, because Christ is going to change your heart. And unless he changes our hearts, nothing in the city is going to change, or any city is going to change. And you can extrapolate that out. And I'm going to close in prayer. Thank you, Lord, for speaking through me. Thank you for redemption and salvation. We pray these words, find this committee well. We pray this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
I'm not a religious person, but I absolutely know where he's going with that. I respect it and I understand it.
Lori Mason, please.
I agree. Elise, I agree.
Good evening, everyone. This actually was sent to me from my daughter, Christina Mason, a BHS graduate of 2013. I am here at yet another committee meeting regarding the violence within the walls of Brockton High School. How embarrassing it must be to regard Brockton as a city of champions when our future leaders are being neglected of a proper education, when our city is making headlines due to violent outbursts of teenagers under your authority. This is a question of your leadership and discipline, not the children. I glanced through the student handbook on page 18. Underneath core values, it reads, provides a safe, respectful, responsive, and inclusive learning environment that promotes physical, emotional, social, and mental wellness. Excuse me,
Whoa.
You're taking my time. The recent headlines are not reflective of that. You have children afraid to walk these halls every day. Sending in the National Guard will not alleviate their fears. Taking away their phones will not eliminate their stressors. If you treat every student like a criminal, you strip them of their dignity and yourself, creating a positive environment with mutual respect. If you take away their means of communication in a hostile environment, it will increase their fearfulness. You must command respect and lead by example. These teenagers know better than to lay their hands on one another along their superiors. This discussion should never have, what the heck? This discussion should never have had to reach us or the news. An assembly with these students needs to be and should have already been held, informing them of your zero tolerance policy toward violence. Assault is an illegal act and therefore deserves legal consequences. Command respect, reassert your authority. The rest will follow. Thank you.
Jamie Hodges, please. Jamie Hodges.
Okay, I want to start off by saying good evening, all members of the school committee, and hello. My name is Jamie Hodges, and I'm a product of the Brockton Public School System, graduating from Brockton High School in 2012, and currently pursuing a PhD in education at Liberty University. I'm dedicated to being a community leader who values accountability. Reflecting on the recent events where certain committee members criticized the school.
What happened? What? Wait a minute. They cut the meeting? Where's the meeting? They cut the meeting? Where's the meeting? Okay, I got it back.
Then
I'm
that
gonna go
people
back.
the
What happened?
national
Activate the National Guard.
A community-led town hall meeting is for.
I feel that we need lots of support from everyone, but not the National Guard. I think we should show the teachers, the staff, the principal, and everyone
All right, we'll pick
we are
it
there
up
for
here.
support. Support the principal. Give them a chance to figure it out. I was talking to a parent that a son is playing on the basketball team here in Brockton, and he was MVP last week. She didn't want to be, recognized here. She is here tonight, and her son got an MVP ring. Also, she was talking about that she want to send her son to the boarding school in Connecticut because of the chaos that is going on here in Brockton. We're here to empower the kids. Don't put a scare in the parents with this type of impactment. It's an impactment on economic development. Who wants to, if you want to have a business, knowing that you have to activate the National Guards with the school, no one want to have the business here. Cause I'm going to leave this thought. Cause if your pencil was that smart, you would have put it to use before it all came down to this. Thank you.
Nicole Gatling, please. Nicole Gatling.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As you know, I'm Nicole Gatling. I'm a 23-year resident of Ward 1, the mother of a son who graduated from Brockton Public Schools. I also prided myself, and who now attends Curry College, I prided myself in being involved in Brockton Public and still remain involved any way I can. So I want to let you all know that I support the teachers, staff, and students and our community in Brockton. I have major questions when it came to what was executed as far as going to the national level of going on Fox News. I was in my house furious because I never knew of any educators that would rely on a National Guard in an educational facility. This is not a prison. You're raising children. We're raising leaders, people that are going to be able to take care of us when they get older, when we get older, which we are getting. So, and I guess my problem is how did we get to this point? Did we reach out to our community, which the board is elected to do?
How they got to this point?
That's first off. You all were supposed to communicate with us. And if you didn't, why?
They
and if
failed.
you did,
The people
please
who
let
are
me
in a
know because I
position
like
of
to see the
power
minutes.
failed.
Also, too, I gotta admit, we have a population of minorities, a large population of minorities, with a 60%, it was reported in Channel 5, of a minority population. During Black History Month, we're going to deploy the National Guard. Only time I see the National Guard was during the Boston boycotts. That's not what the National Guard is for. So if we don't know, let's deal with the people that we hired to know. At this time, I never heard from the superintendent, who usually takes the lead, and I'm not judging you at all. I'm not even throwing stones. I would have liked to have heard from you instead of the school committee members, because that's who we pay as educators to know. We pay you good salaries. So we know that you have the skill set to execute a plan. And so I guess I'm saying this, and not only that, I can remember when my son was attending
I'm not
school,
calling you out
any
because
issue
you're sitting in
that
front of me
came
right
up,
now.
Mike Thomas was first
I'm not
and
calling you
foremost
out.
in front and center. So, and he would never say anything about a National Guard. And the reason being is because he understands the history of the community in which he's representing.
This is insane.
So I guess I do have a lot of questions, and I know I only got 20 more seconds. I'm interested in understanding what the safety policies and plans that, thank God Governor Healy put a stop to that. I'm interested in understanding what are the safety precautions that we're putting in place.
They
to make
have
sure that our
none.
students and staff and teachers are feeling comfortable. And what can we do as a community to help you? You have a lot of educated.
Rasan Hall, please. Rasan Hall, please.
This is insane.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rasan Hall. I'm the president and CEO of the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts. I'm also a proud Brockton resident and one of the organizers of Monday's Standout to support our kids, our faculty, staff, and community. Political stunts are powerful.
This is not political.
Political stunts have consequences.
This is not political.
We've heard about some of those consequences, about the narrative that is being created about the blackest city in Massachusetts.
It's not political.
We have felt the impact of those consequences with images of our children being spread all across the nation as violent and uncontrollable.
They are. I mean, do you see what's
That's not who
happening in
Brockton
school, sir?
is. And instead of using political stunts to create
Not
narratives
political.
about who we are as a community, a better approach would have been to engage the community.
I think they've been trying to do that
Because
for the last 15
a call
years.
from a few individuals to a few of their networks got at least 60, 70, 80 people to stand out at 6:30 on a Monday morning.
Let's pause this really quick. We're going to pause this. I want to bring up this article. Let's bring up this article really quick. Right here. This was February 26th. Quote, "There's just not enough resources in the wake of violence. Brockton High student says the school needs more teachers." Isabella Katzi feels uneasy navigating the halls between classes at Brockton High, where fights break out as many as 3 or 4 times a week, drawing mobs of students running full sprint, eager to film brawls on their cell phones. Katsky, 15, a sophomore, is tired of the mayhem, and so are her parents, who said she is planning to homeschool her for her junior and senior year. This is a student speaking. And if he wants to go there, this is a student of color that is speaking. She's afraid, and her parents are afraid. She'll miss her friends from Brockton High, award-winning theater program, and if she still plans to audition for the spring musical, Katsky had to have her filled of the violence. She's had her fill of the violence. Our school is so overpopulated, and there's just not enough resources for all the students to get what they need, she said. And even the resources that we do have aren't good enough. This is from a student's perspective. She's scared. The high school is the largest in the state with almost 3,600 students. I thought it was 42. I apologize. And I think that's an error because I think it is 4,200. Has been making headlines across the country for the wrong reasons. At a recent school committee meeting, multiple teachers described frequent student fights and expressing concern for their safety. On the last Friday before February break, 4 school committee members called for the National Guard to be deployed to the school. We already know that. The turmoil in Brockton High School has been brewing for months. The district facing back-to-back multi-million-dollar budget deficits was forced to cut staff, leaving classrooms and hallways understaffed. High school absences and shortage and substitutions have left hundreds of students stranded for hours in cafeteria instead of being in class. That's what's going on. And this guy up here is telling you none of this is going on. Multiple students told the Globe that there are too few adults to supervise them. Amid the COVID-19 pandemic, schools were shuttered, students learned to disrupt, and many of them isolated for factors that experts contribute to ongoing behavioral issues. The school's district and the city police department have not responded to requests from the Globe for the number of suspensions, arrests, and emergency calls this year at the school, which could shed light on a full extent of the disruption. However, according to the state data, 19% of the Brockton students were 19% of Brockton High School students were suspended either in school or out last year, compared to with under just 4% statewide. And then you're going to go into all the social justice stuff here. Again, and I said this in the stream earlier. I'm not going to read too much because I want to go back to the meeting. But I said this earlier. This is not a race problem. It's not a man problem. It's not a woman problem. This is a community problem right now. This community is hurting. These students are hurting. The teachers are hurting and they're calling for help, and no one wants to help because they're afraid this might get labeled as racist. They're afraid this might get labeled as this. They're afraid they might get labeled as that. How about you start putting some policies into place and enforcing them? Do your job. You get paid a lot of money to do this job. And do you feel confident with any of the leaders that have been at that table that I showed about an hour ago? Cobbs, Sullivan, now more Healy. Do you feel confident that they're going to be able to lead this and get this fixed? Absolutely not. They have no plan. There's no policy at the end of this meeting. I'm going to tell you right now. Oh, it's something we're going to work on. We're going to think about it. We're going to have another meeting. Yeah, bullshit.
Says something about the power and the belief in the values that are inherent in this community. The time for political stunts is over.
Not a political stunt.
And so for those of you all who are here who have concerns about our students, about our faculty, about our staff, about the image and reputation of the city of Brockton, and who refuse to be shamed for not coming to prior school committee meetings, who refuse to be shamed for not showing up at an event, but are here now, I say to you, there are more opportunities to continue to get engaged. Principal McCaskill is open to working with the community. There are a lot of ways to support all of the institutions and grassroots organizations and programs in our community that serve our kids every day. We've got Rose Conservatory, Sabura, so many other programs in our community that are working with and serving our children. Let's come together and leverage that. Let's show up. Let's volunteer. Let's be mentors, and let's refute that terrible narrative that is being perpetuated about our school and about our community. And so if you want to get involved, the NAACP and the Urban League of Eastern Massachusetts and several other organizations.
The articles that I've read have not said any of the things that this gentleman's trying to put into this. All they have said is that Brockton is violent and Brockton is out of control and the leaders are failing. That's it. Where in that article did it say anything about race or anything here? He's spinning a narrative here. Spinning a narrative.
In our community are in conversation and are hosting a community-led and community-based town hall meeting on March 12th, Tuesday, March 12th at 6:30 at Messiah Baptist Church, to look at community solutions that go beyond political stunts and consequential narratives.
It's not a political stunt, sir. It's a we problem, and I agree, it is a community problem, and the community and the leaders are not.
Jamal Gooding, please, Mr. Jamal Gooding.
Bad leaders. You have bad leaders. You have bad people in the position of power, and Maura Healy is going to do nothing to help this.
Adjusting to the many needs of the populations that we serve. Before I go any further, I'm going to ask Principal McGuire, can you please stand up for a moment? McCaskill. Let's give him a warm round of applause.
You didn't get his name right.
If the narrative has been that Brockton High is bad, that people don't feel safe, that there is no access, then we have to acknowledge that the plight that this man and his staff has had to go up against daily, many things we as parents, service providers, and officials don't even know that happen on the day-to-day basis inside of that high school. One of the things I'm going to ask us to think about tonight, and I'm asking the school committee directly, to take a 21st century approach when dealing with our young adults. We are using old school, outdated methods to communicate and engage with young adults who have expressed to myself, my staff, and me, parents and pastors in this city, that they do not feel accepted, that they do not feel included, and that they don't feel like they have anyone that they can go to or to trust. Our students have spoken. We did a contest with young adults 2 years ago. 2 years ago. It was called Fact or Cap.
We're talking about now.
And out of 543 youth, the question was, Brockton does not care about its youth, cap or fact?
That's 2 years.
There was
ago.
a resounding 543
Now.
individuals that voted and said that they don't believe that Brockton cares about their youth. I am here tonight to offer a solution, an alternative. I've heard from many of you tonight saying that our students don't feel safe. The National Guard was coming. What are you going to do? We haven't heard the school committee. I'm saying to you right now, I am prepared. My organization and partners is prepared to go into Brockton High School tomorrow with over 50 men that will walk the halls, walk the parking lot, provide security, restore public safety, and then engage with teachers and faculty alike to identify those young adults who seem to be underperforming so we can address the violence and arrest it right then and there. Absolutely, I got it. So here's the last thing. I got 1 minute. There's money right now in the student activity fund. Right now,
let him speak.
$4 million right now in a student activity fund that is shared with the high school and the mayor's office. We will work for free until you can pay us, but we will work
Gary Keith, please. Gary Keith.
You know, and a lot of this is maybe some of these students that are, involved in this activity need mentors. Just someone to go in and talk to them. Give them some guidance. Speak to them on a level and say, hey, let's talk it out. Let's have a discussion here. Maybe that is, I don't know, maybe that's the solution. Something got to get done. It's crazy. Yeah.
Hi, good evening and thank you for having me here tonight, and thank everyone for coming. I just have a couple of ideas that I wanted to run past you.
I agree, Christian.
That I brought up before this body, and it seemed to have fell, I don't know where it fell, but it didn't go anywhere. So I'm going to bring it up again. But first I want to say, first of all, I'm Gary Keith. I'm a 35-year resident of Brockton, and I am rooted in the community. I try to get out there as much as I can to do what I can. First of all, a few years ago, Brockton High School was the model school for the nation. What happened? The only thing that changed were the elected officials.
Yep. They're
okay.
failing.
And I hear people saying we need to enforce the policies. That's damn right we do.
Do it.
Okay. They for some reason, somewhere, we dropped the ball on that, which is why we went from top to bottom. And believe it or not, I know people all around the country. It is embarrassing that my phone keeps ringing from people saying, what the hell is going on in Brockton?
Yeah.
Do something, please, because I'm tired of answering my phone. Two things I want to say. One, I was involved with school desegregation in Boston in 1975 when it first started under Judge Arthur Garrity. And I went to Hyde Park High School. We had riots every day. You think these fights that these kids are having now are bad? We had full-blown riots, okay? And some of the things that they did were they used mag locks on the doors, which I brought up before this body. Now, mag locks, if anyone knows, and I'm sure the police do, can withstand 3,000 pounds, whatever you want to do, which will keep these kids from opening up a door to let in outside people to help them with any violence in the school. However, the doors can be controlled by the central office. In case of a fire, all the doors unlock. It also could help you isolate an active shooter if it ever came down to it, if you do the research on it. And it's only going to cost thousands of dollars and not millions. The other thing is, like Jamal Gooding just said, I am willing to volunteer my time, because one of the things we did at Hyde Park High School was men volunteered and we swept the hallways after class, after the bell rung. And we swept it. All the traffic went one direction. We swept the hallways. And if we found any students in the hallways, we put them in the closest classroom, and that's where they stayed for the next 45 minutes. These are some of the things that you need to do in here instead of being able to let these kids go whichever way they want to do. We need to come up with some order, and I am willing to volunteer my time, and I'm hoping that a lot of other men and women who want to do it can do the same. This is our city. Let's take it back. Thank you.
Wanda Stewart, please. Wanda Stewart.
Listen, I want to appreciate everybody coming in and watching these committee meetings. I think it's very important because it's not only in Brockton High. This is probably happening in your
First and foremost,
hometown
I
as
want to
well,
thank
too.
Rasan Hall for inviting me
These are
here
important.
and making sure that the community gets involved. I just want to say at the last meeting, you had brought up and mentioned what exactly is needed to implement these policies. Well, I understand that the principal has to be politically correct, but what they need is more staffing. They need more. Because the students, we need to address the fact that the high school has become a hybrid institution where the teachers are asked to enforce policies more and teach less. In regards to the community involvement, we have to understand that, there needs to be more of us. You wanted the National Guard to come in, and that was a great gesture. What you didn't realize is that what you really did is ignite the community. And the words of Senator John Lewis, you invited us to actually stir up good trouble. We understand that there is a problem. We need to address the fact that, you have lost, that representation matters. You have lost some good talent in regards to this school, especially minority, Black and brown teachers. Why? Because every single year, everybody wants job security. Nobody wants to get the notice that they will not have a job or they have to wait. Nobody wants that. They're going to these suburban communities where they're not making as much as an impact as they would in Brockton. Lastly, I will say to this, Channel 10, I don't know where you are, but we don't need any more of your repeats of the fights. We need you to understand that this is Brockton. We need to stand up for the kids. We need to stand up for the kids that are doing great things. We are sending more children as an inner city community to these Ivy League schools. Our theater, our groups, our sports, they're winning medals. They're winning awards. Whereas as far as Abigail Adams, we're passing those at alarming rates. This is Brockton. There are great kids here. And when we talk,
listen, I fully agree here, but we just read an article from a theater student, an elite theater student at Brockton High that does not want to be there anymore. This was just out on the 26th, this article I just read. 15 years old, February 26th. They're glazing this over. They're trying to make it look like this is not big of a problem as it is. And it is a huge problem. And they have failed. They have failed these students. Oh, this is not a me problem. It's not a me problem.
talk about this, there are thousands of kids at that school, and we're talking about maybe less than 10% that really need the help. And as a community, we are here, and we're standing up to say that we are here to support you. Thank you.
Somebody said there was over like 1,000 students
Julie
that they felt
Fairfield,
were
please.
problem.
Julie Fairfield.
$14.4 million
Hello again.
is missing. I love this lady.
I first want to say, sometimes political statements are what it takes. I don't know if you would have gotten that money from Governor Healy if you hadn't done that. Sometimes you have to stand in the middle of a highway and block the traffic to make your message known. And no, I don't want the National Guard in my school, but I feel like I understood what was behind it. I feel like it was a cry that was like, somebody notice we need something here. Can you give us some help? I believe. Yeah, my daughter lives in Texas. She called me and what's going on? And I'm like, yeah, they're gonna guard me. And I knew it wasn't gonna happen. I think you knew it wasn't gonna happen, but you got to do something.
I
And
agree, Tyrone.
I've had so many people tell me I was not here during the heyday of Brockton when, things were low. And then when I came in 2015. But I just feel like people don't understand. It is not the same. We don't just have to deal with these incredibly idiotic laws that have been put in place that, while I don't think have handcuffed administrators as much as they feel like they do, but maybe I don't know. I can read the law, but I just feel like maybe we can try for some kind of emergency order to override it or something, because that's something that we need. The other thing is we are too big. That might have worked before, but it's not working now. And I feel like kids 14 years old being in a high school with 19-year-olds, that something's going to give. And I don't understand why we can't have a freshman center. It's a school where it can be, we're going to teach you how to be high school students, where you're going to go here. You're not going to be with, the little kids anymore, but we're going to teach you
That's what
how to
school,
act.
Junior high
And
is for.
I don't know. I know that money's a problem, and I know that buildings are a problem.
Money
There was
shouldn't be a
mouse that ran
problem.
across my floor the other day, and
There's the 14.4
that's a problem.
million.
What's really sad is I wasn't even scared. But I think if we did do something like a freshman center, I think that would help so much.
No, it's what junior high is
Because
for.
that level of maturity, or lack thereof,
She was in
I
touch
think
for
it
quite a while.
It would help the situation.
Now all of a sudden
and
she changed her tune.
maybe save Brockton.
She was the one that was saying that she was scared to leave the classroom because she was afraid that she was going to be beaten in the hallway to use the restroom. She held it at the end of the day. Now all of a sudden she's changed her tune. So I wonder if there's people getting in people's ears out there saying, hey, you're going to be on the chopping block if you get up and stand up and say, hey, you can't fight back. She was in favor a couple weeks ago about the National Guard. Now all of a sudden her tune has changed. You're seeing it. You're seeing some of the tunes change out of some of these people.
I'm not mad.
Now she's not mad.
Linda Texera Reyes, please. Linda Texera Reyes.
Good evening. Well, thank goodness we avoided BPS POWs. I come before you today with a heavy heart to address the distressing situation at BPS. It's evident that there's a pattern of disregard for the well-being and the future of our students. It's truly disheartening to witness our children being subjected to chaos and neglect with seemingly no end in sight. The mismanagement of funds, the termination of successful programs all point to a systemic issue within the administration. Sudden and unwarranted cancellations of programs like the Champion City program, Girls Gold Femtor program, and others, which this committee kept talking about, all held great potential to uplift and empower our students. Yet they were all carelessly discarded by this administration. Well, the last one. You have known for some time that the students were
Not a
unraveling.
military school.
You watch them on all of these security cameras. You wait for them to mess up so you can add them to your political quotas to fill your prisons. We know it's mostly Black and brown kids here, so who cares? And Mr. Keith, I don't know where you went to answer your question. Why did the school go down? Because as Black and brown populations go up, the funding goes down. It's ludicrous to hear the mayor claim ignorance about this mismanagement, considering he holds the highest position in our city.
Where is the $14.4 million that no one knows where it is? Where's the $14.4 million? Hello?
As head of our community, he bears the responsibility to oversee and ensure proper allocations of all resources, especially when it comes to our children's education. This revelation only underscores the urgent need for accountability and transparency within our local government. Our students cannot afford to bear the consequences of bureaucratic incompetence any longer. Lastly, We have yet to hear from those students. We have yet to provide a real forum or opportunities for the students to have a real and meaningful conversation. The children, they are the ones who are affected. They are the ones who are also
I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch. Am I out of touch here? Am I out of touch? Can I ask the chat a question? Am I losing fucking mind here? You have students that are being beaten, okay? Almost to death. You've seen students that have been stabbed on this. I mean, the security footage, I've seen it on the news of a young girl being stabbed in the playground and having to be airlifted to a local hospital. You have a teacher that had his arm broken just trying to break up a fight. Am I fucking missing something here? I don't know if I'm missing something here. Maybe I'm missing something. What is it so hard to just go in and put all this other bullshit aside and just fix the problem? But everybody that heard him speak tonight is just piling on an excuse after excuse after excuse, because these are all the teachers. These teachers have failed. They have failed the students, and they won't hold their own responsibility to say and look in the mirror because they have too much fucking pride to say it. I have failed. I have not done the job. So what am I going to do? I'm going to blame it on the budget. I'm going to blame it on, I don't know, the trash man that doesn't pick up the trash at 11 o'clock and he's there a little bit late. He's there at 11:15. We're going to turn around and say, we're going to blame the prior administration. We're going to go out and we're going to blame politics, and we're going to blame race, and we're going to blame, I don't know, whatever, the man on the moon. I don't know if I've missed something here. It's excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. And the funny thing is, in 20 minutes when this meeting ends, it gets to the end, I want to hear the solution, because I'm going to tell you right now, Mayor ain't going to stand up. He has no solution. Maura Healy's not going to walk through that fucking door and have a solution. James Cobbs is not going to stand up, the superintendent, and say, we have a solution, we have a policy. They have no plan. This is going to continue. You know what they're worried about? Putting cell phones in little bags that lock. And we can't get 4,000 of them right away, so we're only going to get 1,000 and test it, because the students might get confused. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. I don't know. Maybe I'm
allegedly perpetrating these disturbances. As we navigate the issues at BPS, it's crucial to remember that the students themselves should have a voice and input.
We have. I read an article 20 minutes ago. The students are scared. They're afraid. Maybe you're not listening to them as their leader, as the person that is employed to be there in Brockton High School. Maybe you are not listening. And no one has stood up. And going back to Benjamin's point, I think Benjamin or Tyrone was the one that said it. Has anybody said anything about where are the parents? Why are the parents not being blamed? Where are the parents? I don't know. Maybe I'm out of touch here.
The decisions that affect their education and their well-being. We've taken the time. Have we taken the time to ask them what they want, how they feel about the chaos and the neglect that they endure on a very daily basis? Do they have a say about their behaviors, about the behaviors of the peers? What do they think should be the consequences of some of these behaviors? Do they personally have fear in the school? And what are those? Do they know people who are disruptive? Why do they think that's happening? The students are the ones impacted directly by the shortcomings of the system. Their perspectives, experiences, and needs must be central to any effort to address the challenges we face. It's time to listen to our students, empower them, and work with them to create a learning environment that is positive for their needs and aspirations.
Drew Fontero, please. Drew Fontero.
Yeah. Shara, great idea. Shara says all the parents need to be here and present and come up with a plan. Parents and students need to be held accountable 1,000%.
Hi, my name is Drew Fontero. I lived in Brockton pretty much all my life and left when I was 17 years old to go pursue an acting career in Hollywood. I would never have been successful if not for my teachers at Brockton High School, South Junior High School, and Huntington School. I give them thanks for everything they do. It is because of Miss Oken that I love reading with character. It's because of Miss Garvey that I love English. It's because of Miss Penny Knight and Miss Villani that I have a future in song and dance and everything like that. What you guys are hearing right now is that all these parents are harping and telling you guys different things because they're concerned. But really the most important opinion that you guys got to hear today was that young lady who was a student. And also you, thank you. I'm glad I followed you because we have to ask the students what they want, what they need. Isaac, you're amazing, but putting them in orange sweaters as prisoners, they're not that. DECA is an amazing school program that creates merch and clothes for them. If they have improper clothes, we fit them in beautiful clothes that screams Brockton High School school spirit. Okay, we don't punish them for that. We try something new, something different. I wrote a 16-page document called the Brockton High School Initiative. It gives you guys all opportunities to change what you guys have been doing with your schools. Now,
why are we so afraid to implement basics? I feel like Donald Trump. Why? Why? What are we afraid of? So let me get this straight. The students that are being disruptive are being allowed to smoke pot, stab people, beat people, hurt students, hurt faculty, probably vandalism. They're having sex in the hallways and in the bathrooms, smoking pot, whatever, cigarettes, ditching, not showing up, filming everything, that all this terrible activity. That's okay. Clearly, that's okay. But if I go in and I discipline, that's a terrible thing. Got it. I can't.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing.
Real quick, Socrates once said, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Okay? You guys are talking about taking cell phones away from students, yet you guys are thinking, basically what you guys are thinking is of what you do outside of the box, but you're not thinking of what you can do with that box. These students have cell phones. They're addicted to social media. They love the likes and all that sort of stuff. What about creating a program that utilizes the phone? What about them coming to school? And I don't know, when I was young, I used to have a program we had an app called Foursquare. And every time we got into one place, we checked in and it gave us points for checking in, incentives. What if the students had an app that worked on their phone that could create incentives for the school? Every time they walk in, they get points, incentives, prizes, things that create school spirit. Stop talking down to them. Talk with them. Ask them to come to you. They have perspectives and opinions that you guys are not hip to because we are millennials, we are olders, we are boomers. These are Gen Zs and Gen Alphas. They will inherit Brockton, Massachusetts. If we don't give them the things to do, things that will enrich their mind and their heart, they're going to abandon Brockton, Massachusetts. We got to create new programs. We got to create new dances, new art. We took art out of schools. Let's bring art back.
Yeah, I agree.
We need to give these students something, but it starts with them.
I do agree with that.
Not just you guys.
I do
Them.
agree with that.
Remember that.
Art back in school. Art back in school. Music programs.
John C. Williams.
Get them involved in music. Let's get them involved in art. Gym class. I don't even know if they do. Is gym required anymore? Physical education. Sports. How's their sports program? Get these kids involved in something. And I like what he said, the school spirit, but this whole stuff, the other stuff was just losing me because again, it's just, we need to get the rules in place and enforce them. But yeah, art, physical education, let's get them involved in sports. It's that sense of pride, team building. If they're lacking a adult figure, in the home, then maybe that coach can be a mentor. Maybe other students can be that mentor. I don't know what their programs
Williams,
are.
please. John C. Williams.
Yeah. Boxing. There you go. Fight clubs, right? No.
Good evening, Brockton.
Good evening.
I'm glad I get a chance to speak tonight.
Does start at home.
I hear a lot of
need
ideas. There's no policy you can
Right.
make that can change what's going on.
You're right, Lauren.
Not one. There's nothing you can
Wrestling.
institute right now that's going to change it tomorrow. We put in a lot. You did some due diligence, Judy. You went and spoke to some teachers. And you know what they told you? We need champion city mentors. And you tried to explain to them, and they were like, it's John Williams, so they didn't want to hear it, right? I hear you. So I listened to my brother Jamal speak and say he's willing to go into the school with mentors and men to patrol the hallways and stuff like that. The problem is you guys are only focused on Brockton High School because Brockton High School is the crown jewel. It makes you your money. But this problem doesn't start at Brockton High School. You're not going to go into Brockton High School, patrol the hallways, and fix it. Over 10 years ago, I had a meeting with Mike Thomas. And we developed a long-term plan. You heard some people today say it. You heard some of my former colleagues, some teachers come up and say Brockton High School was a model school. We were leading the way, restorative justice, everything. 10 years ago, we had a meeting and we put together a program that spanned not only the high school, because in 2016, we had these same issues. People filming fights, and it got real bad. And I got a call. And I got asked to bring in community members. Some that are here today. I see William Wells. I see my wife, Linda Texera Reyes that just spoke. I see Roro Wilson right there.
I like this guy.
We had people come into the school and build relationships from kindergarten to 12th grade.
I don't think it did. I'm going to disagree. I don't think it did. I don't think it did that much. I think that there's a capability to fix those screwed up things. You're going to say that everybody just went wild in what, a year? Not even, what, 3 months of a lockdown? Everybody just all of a sudden changed their behavior and just started going wild? Doesn't make any sense. This has been something that has been going on in Brockton for a very long time. I mean, he even just said since 2016.
The worst students in your school right now we've had since the 3rd grade. But for some reason, political agendas in Brockton take precedence over children.
And that very much.
You all voted to get rid of this program that supported not only the students, we supported teachers, we supported administration. Ask how many conversations I've had with Sharon Wolders, Michelle Connors, Mike Thomas, Mr. G back there. All of these are teachers that y'all claim to support. We actually went in there and did it. And we started doing it for nothing. For nothing. We went in there because we care. I was that.
He had a
student.
mentoring program. That's what he's talking about. He was had a mentor program. They were doing it for free, and they cut it. They didn't want it.
Was that student?
I like this guy.
Ro was that student. We're from here.
Keep talking.
We're from Brockton. We came back into the schools to help out the kids so they don't go down the same path we went. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We need to get real. Get rid of your political agendas.
Yep.
Get rid of your personal vendettas, whatever they are, and get people that have done the work on a consistent basis for the last 10 years. We're doing the work. I don't get paid a dime. I still got mothers calling me, and I go to their house, and I go work with those kids. I still see kids in the streets, in the supermarket. What's up with school? You walked with me during the campaigning. You saw how kids react to me. These are kids in the street.
That's right.
And I can talk, hey, what's up with your grades? Come here.
Right.
Sit down.
This is what I was talking about.
We need kids to see people that
Let
look
him
like
talk.
their uncle, that look like their older brother, that look like their fathers.
Yes.
We have missing fathers.
That's right.
So when we have people in the schools that can adjust and adapt,
Let him talk.
to them and say, listen, hey, come here. You know what you need to do? You need to sit down real quick, shut up and listen to this teacher, because she's gonna give you the key to success. And if you think that ain't what it is, you
Shut
can
the
have any
timer off,
teacher
man.
in
Let
here
this guy
that's
talk.
had an experience with our program. They'll tell you what it is. Do your due diligence and stop playing around. We've already lost a generation of kids with all these games. You're talking about funding? You're asking for funding? You just had $80 million that you didn't put in your boy Chris Carney's pocket, that y'all didn't went and spent on buses, that y'all started a transportation department that's over budget every year because you weren't smart enough to see this is a transportation department. We're going to have to maintain these buses. We're going to have to sign contracts with drivers.
I'm getting goosebumps.
And that driver contract was horrible.
Let him talk.
You did a terrible job. All of you need to be talking. I know it's enough. I know you don't want to hear anymore. Yeah, do your job. Do your job. Yeah. Do your best.
Can anybody get in contact with John for me? If you personally know him, let's get him on the show. Probot says, look this guy up. He's been fighting all the crap in the whole city, and they don't take him seriously. And they fuck with him. He's been trying to get help for these kids forever. If anybody knows John C. Williams, please reach out to him. Let's get him on LTL. I want to hear this man talk about Brockton. Let's get him out there. So if anybody knows John, have him reach out to me. Let's Talk Live Podcast at gmail.com. And I'll try to do my due diligence in reaching out to him, just like when I got Coogan over here. But I want to hear him. I want to get him on the show. Gosh, I had goosebumps.
Decorum, please. We have another person, please. Michelle Henson, please.
I will remain within my 3 minutes, but I'm going to be really direct to some of you. You heard that we had mentors, and you thought that, well, we have formerly incarcerated people, and they're not safe to have around our children. But you wanted to bring soldiers who don't know our kids, who don't give a damn about our kids, and you know the first child that showed out and touched up was going to get hurt, and you didn't think about that. And I did reach out to the 4 of you because I was very disappointed that it was you who wanted to bring this down on Black and brown children. Now, if it was a stunt to get the attention, okay, I guess I can get that now. We have everybody's attention now, and I can give you that. And what I didn't say at the beginning is I'm going to give you the love of everybody in this room. I have no hate, but some of you have pissed me the hell off. Okay? You threw away money, you lost money. You don't want to take accountability. And as much as I love you, you need to take accountability. This is you. This is all you. And the rest of you who have been here long enough, Mrs. Sullivan, you have been here. Mrs. Ehlers, you are new, but as far as everybody on this council, you are the one with some financial background. I looked at your LinkedIn. Okay, so I expect more from you than the rest. So, and now that apparently you're still vice chair, time for us to have a conversation. I told you you would meet the dragon, and you're about to. Thank you.
So that concludes hearing of visitors. Agenda item 5 is VHS safety update from Brockton Police Chief Brenda Perez. Chief.
About another 10 minutes, and this should finish up just before Turtle Boy starts. So I'm going to try to end my stream here just before Turtle Boy starts. And I'll drop you the link to his show if you want to go over and hang out. But I'm going to try to get through the rest of this here. So listen, I appreciate everybody over here for checking out my stream tonight. This is a very passionate topic that I've been covering here and following the failure of Brockton High School here. And, you know, they need some action over there. They need some action. And it's a mixed bag of what people feel like it needs to happen. I also want to announce this Sunday night, Rita Lombardi will be joining my show to talk about her campaign for a select board meeting in Canton. So I'm going to have Rita on Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to talk about her campaign in Canton. So, all right, let's play. All right, ProBots, thank you.
Good
Reach out
evening,
after the show.
school committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today regarding the security of Brockton High. I'm a proud alumni of Brockton High School and the daughter of immigrants and a lifelong resident of Brockton. As the police chief, the safety of our school community is of paramount importance. Over the last few months, my team and I have collaborated closely with the mayor, superintendent of schools,
You're
school
welcome.
administrators, school principal McCaskill, school police officers, the district attorney's office, and the city solicitor. We've recognized the many challenges we face and are exploring strategies encompassing prevention and intervention. Tonight, we'll be providing you with a security update on issues we have identified, along with some recommendations for the school district. To gain a better understanding, we wanted to take a look at the frequency of calls for service over the last 2 years, examining both district-wide calls for service and calls specifically for Brockton High School. During the preceding school year, we received approximately 1,100 calls for service for the entire district, with slightly over 80 calls for service for the high school. During this academic year, encompassing the data up until January 31st, the district has had just over 800 calls for service, with approximately 40 calls to the Brockton High School. Calls for service within Brockton High School encompass a broad spectrum, ranging from alarms to theft to altercations, medical calls, missing persons. Our current trajectory appears consistent with the previous year. Given the recent occurrences on school premises, it's imperative to uphold open communications across all administrative levels with Brockton Public Schools. And we urge staff to utilize either emergency 911 and the police non-emergency number to report any incident requiring our intervention. As a first issue, we wanted to discuss assessment to bolster security measures effectively. It's important that we adopt a proactive approach by conducting comprehensive reviews and assessments at regular intervals, ideally once every 3 years. In looking at the school safety issues, I found the school district's most current security plan is approximately 10 years old.
Wow.
The Mass Chiefs of Police Association, using the guidelines by the Partnership Alliance for Safe Schools, offers a comprehensive guide that just came out October of 2023 on how to achieve a greater level of security in schools. As the initial step, it's recommended to assemble a multidisciplinary team consisting of a school district security director as the head, IT specialists, integration experts, administrative personnel, community representatives, fire and law enforcement are part of that community representatives. I would like to pass out a copy to all of you so that you can take a look at what that composition looks like and for your review. One proposed recommendation involves engaging a third-party entity to conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the existing security infrastructure. And we're happy to hear that Governor Healy's grant award that will allow the district to start with this process. We recommend that the district hire a school security director to oversee all safety and security planning and bring in all the necessary partners to include fire and police. The second issue that we've encountered is classroom security. The security of classrooms within the high school poses a significant concern. Currently, teachers are able to lock their classrooms, but do not have the ability to unlock, leaving unsecured rooms, unoccupied rooms unsecured, presenting potential risk to the safety of students and staff. Compounding this issue, the circulation of the G submaster keys, some of which are unaccounted for, further compromising school security. Additionally, there have been instances of key distribution to unauthorized individuals, contrary to established protocols. As a short-term measure, we recommend the district establish a policy and protocol to instruct teachers to lock all classrooms when unoccupied, minimizing security vulnerabilities. Second, giving floor teachers the responsibility of unlocking classrooms and implementing regular checks to ensure all classrooms are securely locked at all times. As a long-term solution, we recommend the district explore comprehensive security options such as rekeying rooms or transitioning to a fob or a card access system. Implement stringent procedures for key issuance, key turn-in, and management to prevent unauthorized access. Empower key personnel to allocate access based on their job responsibilities, fostering accountability and bolstering security measures. The third issue we've encountered is access control. There's several risks that have been identified concerning access control within the high school. The absence of a vestibule poses a significant security threat, allowing unauthorized individuals to gain entry. Individuals already inside the building accessing entry point introduce significant vulnerabilities. Access control officers lack adequate training and visibility. Their position in relation to metal detectors, a lack of clarity regarding their roles and responsibilities. Pictures on IDs are not current, leading to inaccuracies or inability in identification. Absence of alarm systems on doors exacerbates the risk of breaches going unnoticed. Over-reliance on reactive measures leaves gaps in proactive threat detection and response. Existing cameras are primarily utilized in a reactionary manner rather than active monitoring. To address these concerns, we recommend the district implement comprehensive training programs for access control officers to enhance their visibility, ensure clear understanding of responsibilities, and ensure active monitoring of metal detectors. Establish a protocol for annual ID picture updates for students, staff, and teachers to maintain accurate
I'm going to work
identification
on getting her
records.
on the show, Kevin.
Introduce a pre-processing center or vestibule to prevent unauthorized entry for all. Establish a centralized command center staffed by security personnel to monitor all entrances in real time and deploy the limited resources accordingly, therefore enhancing
double time this.
physical security, operational efficiency, and situational awareness. The fourth issue is personnel training. Inadequate training of personnel has been identified as an issue to address. For this, we recommend that the district perform a thorough review and refine the roles and responsibilities for access officers,
Anybody
security and
knows
safety
him,
officers, and floor
you can get me in touch with him, have him email me and I'll drop the email address. I'd love to have him on the show and talk about his passion and talk about what he actually said here tonight during this community meeting. All right, I want to get through this because TV's live in about 15 minutes, and I want to send you all over there.
Teachers in an effort to boost effectively and clarity in their duties. Enforce stringent vetting procedures alongside comprehensive training protocols for all security personnel. This measure ensures that they are proficiently trained to handle their responsibilities. Assess and optimize the deployment strategy of all security personnel to ensure maximum coverage and efficiency across all areas of concern. Brockton Police and Brockton School Police are here to assist and work with the school district, the school committee, safety subcommittee, and school security director in any way necessary to ensure the safety of students, teachers, and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Kevin.
Members
Members, get them.
any
Get them on the
questions for
show.
Chief Perez at this time, please. Ms. Azak, please.
I'll start off. Thank you, Chief Perez. Thank you for the presentation. So a lot of the items that you touched base on, we have been asking for those. More training, things like that. Some stuff I think, should be discussed in executive session as to how we do things. It is safety, and we really don't want to be putting everything out there as to what we're going to be doing as far as doors, keys, things like that. So I believe our attorneys here, I believe that does fall under our executive session. So I wasn't aware there was meetings happening as far as, we do have a safety, traffic, and transportation subcommittee. This is the first I've heard of meetings happening within the city. I'm glad that they were happening. It's just the committee was not aware. I know I wasn't aware. I'm not sure about other members. So we do have a subcommittee, and our subcommittee should have known what's going on, and we could have worked as a committee to implement some of these ideas and some steps that you're recommending. I would recommend to just probably discuss. I have a few questions, but I'd rather do them in executive session because it is safety and security, and it's not something we want to put on camera. So if our attorney could we can schedule something.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for the presentation. I'm glad that there was meetings. It's just some of us weren't aware of them. But thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Ms. Azak. Any other questions for the chief at this time? Ms. Rodriguez, please.
I said I was going to ask any questions, but when you look at the Director of Safety and Security, that's already in our policy that position exists. I requested that 2 years ago, went on deaf ears. But most of this is during our subcommittee meetings that we've discussed. This was already brought to the forefront. And I thank you for your work in actually assessing this. Thank you to the governor. Yes, it worked. It worked. And we brought light to it. It did. And I'm glad the community stepped up, and I'm glad the governor sent us that money, but that money doesn't help us right now. Because doing an audit, it's going to take time to hire personnel. The money that she should have sent is the money for us to hire security staff. On top of that, hiring the educators into the classroom. But I thank you for this, but I think this discussion needs to be done in executive session because it does involve security of the district. So
thank you, Ms. Rodriguez. Mr. Gomes, please.
But another 3 minutes.
Said. Also, took notes while you're talking. I do appreciate the time you guys put into this, but all of the things that were mentioned, we've already covered, like the ID, covering access points and so on and so forth, and even the security director position. We've gone over those. So I was looking more forward to what are we doing about those things? Like, for instance, access control. Do we have more staff to help with that? Or are you guys going to provide more security personnel to come and patrol? Things like that. I won't ask the specific questions that I have. We can do it in executive session, but majority of those things we've already talked about. I look forward to hearing what we're going to do about those things, if anything.
Okay, well, thank you for the question. And staff, when it comes to access control, are under the direction of the superintendent of schools, so they're employees of the school. So he would be better able to answer that question.
Any other members have any questions? Chief, I just want to thank you. I met with you today, and Dr. Cobbs was on the Zoom. One thing I think would be important for the public to know, this was not under your watch. You're the new chief. You're first female chief in the history of Brockton, but you're a proud Brocktonian and Brockton High grad. And you tell me that all the time. But when you began your due diligence on this, one thing that came to light was that some determinations was made a while ago that SROs, the school resource officers, school police, could only be on the first floor. They wouldn't go to the second floor, third floor, but you've changed that. Could you just express that so that people know that?
Thank you, Mayor. That's true. When we started this process of looking at, safety in schools, it came to light that basically under a previous administration, our school resource officers were not allowed to go on to the second and third floor and were basically restricted at the high school to the first floor. So Dr. Cobbs, the mayor, and I, we've discussed this, and that's something that's not acceptable. Our school resource officers are here to basically integrate with our students and become a part of that school community. So that's since changed, and we're happy to hear that.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions? Jody. Follow up from Ms. Azak, please.
It's just more of a statement. So under Superintendent Thomas's administration, we had talked about the vestibule, and I believe there's plans, but at the time, I believe the fire chief, it didn't pass.
All right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop out because I know TB's live right now, probably starting in a minute, but I think I'm getting a gist of what's going on here. I think communication is a big problem. Obviously, security is a big problem. And money, unaccounted money, $14.4 million. Maura Healy seems like she threw about $4 million at them to shut this whole problem up. Again, let's throw money at the problem. That's going to fix the problem. It's not going to fix the problem. I think we need to go back to what John C. Williams was saying. We need mentors. We need men. We need strong women, strong men in those hallways to speak to these students, pull them aside and say, hey, what the hell? Start implementing the policies that you say. It's all this talk and no action. And that is what's going on here in Brockton High. But I will continue to cover on this. Hopefully we can get John C. Williams over here to speak about what's going on in Brockton, give us some other light and some solutions that he might have. I'd love to hear from him. And also, just a reminder, Rita will be on the show 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday night to talk about her campaign for Canton Select Board. So here's the link to TB if you want to go over and follow him. I know, Lisa. I get it. TB Live, there's the link. Please go over and support TB. I'll see you guys all soon. Thank you for being here and supporting me tonight. I appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.
True crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden and mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. It's true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities of the true crime. Unraveling the web of evil, no stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities of the